Greetings. What I want lives very close to what I need. And as a matter of fact, they have the same labels. As a child, I learned to distinguish between the letters of the alphabet and eventually between upper and lower case. I'm still working on distinguishing between what I want and what I need. Good morning. This is The Practicing Christian, and I am Robert Jordan Ross, and I still have something of double vision, although I visited my ophthalmologist this week, and it looks as if in some short period of time I may actually be able to read clearly without the hesitation that I've been showing in reading these materials to you. In the meantime, please put up with my unsteadiness and bits and pieces. Thank you. The abundant life is the topic for this week's Practicing Christian. No successful political or religious system is able to exist without promising and providing an abundant life to its followers. To do so, it must first define, to their satisfaction, an acceptable definition of what such a life means. Jesus did this, following the example of Moses, who had promised the same gifts from God. Although Jesus taught us that we must undergo suffering and deprivation on the way there, he guaranteed that eventually we would arrive at the promised land and receive such a life as a gift. Kings in later years, kings like Charlemagne and warrior conquerors like Genghis Khan, have promised these as well, and have husbands to the women they marry. And social systems like communism have promised such things to the politically compliant. All of this happens on these lower levels, like the husband, every day. Teacher has brought cupcakes for the class, if you're nice. And in the Holy Eucharist, Jesus renews his promise each week. When you're 17, you may get a job along with a high school diploma. If governments will provide you with interest payments for your retirement and Social Security payments as well, do you trust your Congress also as you trust Jesus? At this point, we might become a bit suspicious. The dividends that we will receive, as well as the Social Security payments, are made in dollars that will have lost approximately 3.5% of their value each year for decades. The excellent cigars you saved up for retirement may have dried out and turned to flakes. Your bride, now 74 perhaps, if you're prudent and have waited to take your Social Security after it piles up a little more, has new limitations. And you cook the meals. In the midst of your years of hope, promise, and some good fulfillment, you have from time to time practiced fasting. An ancient discipline, it retains its appeal for many. Some as individuals, some as communities. Set against the eventual dissolution of everything you can touch and see and kiss around you. Is it worth pursuing in some specific instances? Is it worth pursuing so that you have habituated yourself to very, very modest expectations? For most of us, the answer is usually no, it isn't worth habituating ourselves. No, in part, this is because we may not be accustomed to it. We may feel embarrassed chatting about it over lunch while other men are busy munching away. You may be truly tempted to explain yourself to them and why you are fasting, and possibly to explain yourself apologetically, of course. But this is a good thing. If you do explain yourself, you may look like a minor hero. In fact, would be, indeed, a minor hero, for the non-faster is a prisoner of his needs and desires. You must also remember that much fasting, often intermittent, is for health reasons. If you wish your heart to hold out for an extra decade or two, it may be a cheap price to pay for this, to be able to get that to happen. You may fast for the construction of a new school. You then can be known by your sons and daughters as a near godlike figure, if they go to that school. If you fast for mental and spiritual health, clarity, you may now have a sharper mind than those around you, plus a reward in Israel, the biblical Israel, the Israel of the second coming that we're promised. You may inspire others to copy you a small demonstration of your leadership. You may be quite happy with your actions, which are now consuming less of things, a sure sign to others of your moral superiority. Years ago, no one wore automobile safety belts. The early adopters in these, as in so many other things, were seen as nuts or thoughtful of others. And which are you?